Okay, so generally, from the last session we had, probably was it last year, wasn't it? End of last year, yeah. So it was a while ago. So a lot of positives come from the sort of stuff we've changed there in terms of your club face. I wouldn't say club face control, but your ability now to not have the club face wide open. Yeah, you sort of had I hate to use the word suffer, as I said, but you would suffer with the ball going right and slicing and stuff. And you've done a lot of fixes there with the left wrist staying flat, all the good stuff we talked about with the turn and the angles you're creating. So the club face now is staying a lot squarer for longer. The problem is one of the mechanisms you did to try to stop it going right was rather than have the golf ball hit with the hands here, you would come back to the golf ball now and almost effectively scoop it a little bit, yeah? So you can see as you come back to this golf ball now on the left-hand side, again, good backswing position, good shoulder turn, your angles you're creating your spine now are good. As you come back to the ball, you've got the angle there in your left arm on the club face, you can see. You start losing it about here. As you get back to about here now, your lead arm and the club are almost back in line. So your wrist have unhinged a bit early. So when it actually comes to hitting the golf ball now, at impact, your hands now, you can see it sort of back behind the golf ball, kind of scooping that ball up in the air, which again is going to send it to the left, which in your mind is like an anti-right kind of mechanism, but you don't need to do that anymore now because you're squaring the club face up more effectively or keeping the club face squarer. The key thing to remember when you're doing this move, it is all the movement in the wrist, not your lead arm, kind of like cricket shotting out to the right. We still want your arms and torso to swing as normal, but you can see on this swing here now, as you start going back down, nice shift of the weight. You've kept the angle there for a bit longer. If we go to the next frame, in your last swing, the club and the line, or the club and the arms, they're almost in a straight line. There's your club there now, so you're keeping this angle a bit longer in the wrist. You've still got some angle in your wrist there now. There's your lead arm here. And your club is kind of there. So you still maintain some angle. As you come to the golf ball, we can see now there's your hands at impact. So that's more what we're looking for. Then from this position here now, your arms can continue to go around the corners, your body unwinds, and finish off with a kind of normal sort of release follow through position up on the left hand side as you've done here now, yeah? But it's controlling that face from here, so your wrists aren't really doing, like you're keeping this angle here in that right arm and right wrist, so here and here there's that angle that you've created, and then you're just holding it to release it at the correct point. What you did in the past would almost early release it, again partly because you didn't want the ball to go right. You can see your right arm now sort of straightening here, that angle in your right wrist and the forearm now is basically gone by the time you get down just before impact. So if your hands are sort of in the same, probably the next frame back there, or you're down the next one there, there's basically your similar kind of position there with your arms and body, yeah? There's the shaft there, there's the shaft there, yeah? So this one here, you just unhinged everything so quickly. But like I say, that was one of the things you had in your game to try and fix the slice, which is gone now. You haven't a single, so you've had a few shanks because your arms have moved away, but you haven't sliced anything, yeah? Your face now throughout the golf swing, for the most part, is either square or closed. So you're not going to slice it, yeah? But that takes a lot of trust and practice to just see a golf ball keep going that way and understand how that left wrist is going to work. The key thing is if you're hitting shots and going like this after shot, you're gripping it way too tight. Yeah. But that's you, like so many golfers, mate. Everyone's like, Mo is like, I'm just going to grip this club tight because I don't want my wrist to flick. Okay, I'll lock the wrist so it can't flick. The problem is at the speed you're swinging it, the energy created by your club head speed is stronger than you are. Yeah, so as you're swinging back down, you might try and stop that club from flicking, but the speed you're swinging it, your body stops because you're gripping so tight and you hold tension in your body, and the club's going to just create that momentum and scoop anyway. So you can't stop this sort of unhinging by just gripping it tighter. You've got to control what that wrist does, and that's what we said about with the palms kind of here and just swinging this way just to feel that right wrist, having the club up in front of your chest. I think visually it's a lot easier to see the club in front of a mirror, maybe swing back and get the hands kind of working into that position with the lead wrist nice and flat, not this kind of extending with your right arm. Okay, so it will take a bit of practice, but I think you see now when you make the changes with your long game what you can now produce. You've gone from hitting the sort of the pushy, cutty, weak slice. I mean, you're like 20, 30 yards further now, aren't you? I mean, your 7-9 before was kind of like, at best we'd push like a 145-ish, but it was a high and weak to the right. You've had a couple of 168s, 170s, but it's going to the left now. We can still get that same distance if the hands stay in front, and then we get 165, 170 straighter. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Have a few more in, buddy, and we'll see how that goes from there, okay? But, yeah, definitely got to... And a thing to remember, we're controlling the left wrist and letting the left wrist work differently. We're not just shoving our left arm, yeah? And this is sometimes when people try to make a move that other body parts try and sort of take over. So it's the left wrist is working better, keeping the angle in that wrist, not trying to shove the arm for like a cricket shot and cover drive out to the right there, buddy, okay?